you by my side so that I'll never feel alone again. They've always been so kind, but now they've brought you away from me. I hope they didn't get your mind. Your heart is too strong anyway. We need to fetch back the time they have stolen from us. And I want you, we can bring it on the floor. Never danced like this before. We don't talk about it, dancing on, do the boogie all night long. Stoned in paradise, shouldn't talk about it. And I want you, we can bring it on the floor. Never danced like this before. We don't talk about it, dancing on, do the boogie all night long. Stoned in paradise, shouldn't talk about it, shouldn't talk about it. Coldest winter for me, no sun is shining anymore. The only thing I feel is pain, caused by absence of you. Suspense controlling my mind. I cannot find the way out of here. I want you by my side so that I'll never feel alone again. And I want you, we can bring it on the floor. Never danced like this before.
Welcome back. Throw away the script, Jack.
We're tossing the script off the freaking window.
We're gonna do it live. We're gonna do it right here. It is what, Wednesday, March 11th. All the ad news you need to know coming your way every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday live from 11 to what, 1 p.m.
Whenever we want. And yesterday, great show, Gino. For the people that didn't watch yesterday, what's one thing you wanted to know about? Bring to the water cooler.
Yeah, it's the A-list episode here. You need to know, and you need to be on the lookout for Aaron Starkman and Rethink here. They're not just the brand stunty agency. They're building mega platforms for big brands here. One of my favorite days of the year is when that A-list comes out.
That is, if I am someone that works in advertising or marketing, I want to know what's the best stuff, who's the best. Rethink, according to Ad Age, is the best. So what I want everyone to go do, a little homework for you all, is go look up all the work that Rethink has done the last year. Check it out. And if you think it's stunty, know that it's also effective, because they wouldn't have won if it was just stunty and not effective. We talked with Brian Bonilla about that exact criteria, so we knew that. And if you watched yesterday, you would have already known that. But since maybe you didn't watch, we just taught you that right now at the water cooler.
Well, thanks for joining us today here. We got a good episode for you all. But first things first, I want to give a shout out to Jack, who crushed it on a social panel yesterday in the Lower East Side, hosted by the brand Slate. Any big takeaways from what you said yesterday, Jack?
Ah, gosh. I mean, not to do the community notes on you, but it was in Soho, and it was good. It was great. Slate crew, shout out. Got to talk about social media, something I don't really know much about.
You seemed like you did.
Thanks.
You did a good job over
Thanks.
there.
I had some jokes land, some didn't land, but I'm a volume shooter.
Funniest guy on the panel by far, biggest laughs, and I had a pretty good audience question towards the end.
Yeah, Gino had a good question as well. Yeah, tune in. Check out Slate, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bam Adebayo, 83-point game as well.
I woke up to that. I thought it was a joke. Bam Adebayo, 83 points, NBA basketball player. So
Jordan Brand athlete. Jordan had a really good response post right away about that, and you guys can go check that out on their Instagram. But another example of a brand moving fast, having that in the back, having the trust, I think, with the brand, the agency and the brand combo. I'm assuming that's Wyden Kennedy. I wouldn't quote me on that. Jordan Brand, Nike.
Yeah, I don't know, but that kind of speed. Also, you have to be kind of a sicko to be dialed in. I mean, obviously, as it's going along, people are catching on to it. Like an NBA game on a Tuesday night, though, like a Miami Heat game on a Tuesday night is something that you wouldn't necessarily have booked on your calendar.
Right.
But the speed, what's really impressive is the speed to execution when it's something that really you're probably figuring out like 20 minutes before history happens. Also the fact that, he gets to 83 points obviously at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. So it's not something where, they're going into a championship game, which like we've seen Wyden.
They prep it beforehand.
Yeah, they know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is wild. It's also, people are like, the NBA, it's a stain on the NBA was what a lot of people were saying, because the way that he got to 83 points, he shot 43 free throws.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were like towards the end, both these teams aren't really that good. And so towards the end, it was like the Miami Heat were doing everything that they could to get him to 83 points. They didn't even care about like the game. Oh. And then the other team, I forget who they were playing, was like, we're going to do everything we can to not get him to score. So it became this really weird, like awkward route to the 83 points. It didn't feel as pure as like Kobe's 81. That's what people were saying. Just a little sports update at the water cooler.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got you, dog.
Shall we get into everyone's favorite segment of all time, what they look forward to? They wake up for this one, Jack. We had a lot of comments on how great this is. It's the 2-minute drill. And brought to you by maybe you, if you reach out. And
almost the right graphic. We got yesterday's Justin graphic, but
that's okay.
Let's keep it rolling. We'll move on. Gino, Playboy's new chief brand officer. I'm moving into the space here.
Yes.
What do you got on this one?
The new CBO and editor-in-chief is Philip Picardi, and he's coming over. He's worked at some great shops here. Teen Vogue made it more appealing to Gen Z. Founded Them, which is a queer-focused publication, Jack. A little insight into who he is and what he's all about here. Was editor-in-chief at Out Magazine as well. Worked at Weight Watchers here. His quote is saying, "We need a publication that is able to explain sexuality as a cultural force, especially as younger folks are feeling facing a sex recession and male loneliness epidemic here." So what are we thinking about where this might be heading for the brand of Playboy?
I think it's got to be one of the more exciting opportunities. Is a brand like this that has so much built up equity. Mm-hmm. It's so recognizable. Mm-hmm. They have an opportunity, and I feel like they've been quiet for a while now. And they have I think it's an awesome chance for them to like spearhead and be the face of, the progressive movement. Mm-hmm. And like teaching kids, especially like OnlyFans era. A lot of these kids are growing up in an era where like sexuality, social media is so weird. It's so unregulated. Mm-hmm. It's very like, it's a wild, wild west. Playboy has the opportunity to be a really big player and kind of be the I guess like advocate, but also steward of what like healthy relationships can look like.
It's interesting too, because they're going to be launching, they're on Substack, and we'll talk about Substack later this episode, and they're going to be making more social content as well to get to that younger audience.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's social content, short form. They also, I think they relaunched the publication.
The print?
The print. Mm-hmm. And I also want to shout out Mark Stenberg, who wrote the article at Adweek where we got this information from. He said, quote, "The white smoke has risen from the Playboy mansion."
We have a new leader here.
Great stuff. All right, next story. Guinness and Premier League. Gino, great ad here. It's a continuation of Guinness's A Lovely Day platform. Mm-hmm. And this time they are flexing their Premier League sponsorship and promoting Guinness Foreign Extra Stout. The work is by VML UK, and the Foreign Extra Stout, 7.5% ABV.
Now we're talking, Jack. That'll get you going there. That'll get you cheering on for any of your favorite football clubs over there. But listen, what I thought was interesting about this is the actual Foreign Extra Stout is brewed with extra hops.
They put extra hops.
They put extra hops into it.
Shout out Superbad.
And uses, so that basically means it can travel longer, just like the strength of the fandom of these sports clubs travels farther. So they shot this in Kenya and Indonesia, Jack, to show the fandom. is how strong it is. So there's a nice tie-in with the product and the messaging there.
Yes, and then also the Premier League is probably pumped about that too. They're obviously want to expand their audiences. It's the NFL, how they do like these Europe games, and they're trying to become a global audience. Premier League has the opportunity to do that. I don't know if we'll be able to pull up the Premier League. Yes, play this.
Sit in your fucking armchair
There we
waiting
go.
off to pop idols, then try and avoid your wife's
Look at
gaze
these
as you
guys.
struggle to
Look
come
at
to
these
terms with your
guys. We
sexist
might get
ways.
audio.
Then go and spunk your
We
way
do
to
have
the
audio.
fruit machines and brasses. Fuck that for a laugh. I know what I'd rather do. Trot them away. Love it.
Yeah, these guys it's hilarious.
just love it.
I just think I wanted to show that because Premier League fandom is insane. These people, these wankers, are just nuts.
It's absolutely, Jack, and Guinness being associated with that brand makes a lot of sense. Good work by VML UK shooting that on film. It looked great.
People love Guinness in Europe. People get drunk at the pitch. These people, English Premier League TikTok, go check it out. That is some of the best TikToks on the planet. Next one, Budweiser. 150-year anniversary for the MLB. It's also the 150th anniversary for Budweiser. It's also the 250th year anniversary for America.
Yes, Jack, of course. They got the custom Budweiser cans here, retro-styled old teams. I don't see a Chicago White Sox one on that.
Yeah, there might be. It might exist, but they're doing it MLB limited edition cans. Budweiser is some of the best cans right now because they kind of went retro, I feel like, with the Budweiser cans.
Okay.
And people online are loving this shit. They are talking about it like, yeah, this is badass. I also feel like something like this at the game, I would be all over these cans.
Oh, yeah. You're buying that at the game. And then for 150 lucky fans there, they're going to get a giveaway of some sort with beer money on cards and potential tickets.
Okay, well, what are your thoughts on the overall Budweiser platform? Because it's a continuation, Americana type thing. Nothing's more American than baseball, America's pastime. We saw at the Super Bowl, Budweiser, the best spot of the Super Bowl according to Ad Meter, and that was all about Bald Eagle America as well.
Well, I mean, this is the year for Budweiser to do these partnerships.
Why?
Because it's the 250th anniversary, birthday, whatever you call it, for America, and it's their brand anniversary, so they have to go big. Thinking about all the touch points where America's pastimes, MLB, where else could they show up? I'm excited to see where else they show up throughout this year as well.
I like it because it's on strategy, right? Yeah. But it's in a unique way because because it's kind of like an extra step, like baseball. Baseball is America, so it's very Americana, but it's not like, they're not going overboard patriotic, like how easy would it have been? They might still do this, like a USA 4th of July can, I could totally see that. Yeah. But this felt like a unique way, and I think people get amped up. Think about like Coca-Cola, the Santa can, that's a big deal. People love their can art, and we talked yesterday with the Snapple brand, that packaging design, so it's relevant right now. Go get a Budweiser.
Go get a Budweiser. Jack, you selected this story. Tee it up for us.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings, wing-flavored espresso proteini.
This is absurd. Yeah.
Thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke.
There's a lot
It is
going
a
on.
joke. It is a joke, but it's for National Espresso Martini Day, March 15th. A lot to dig through here because we got protein maxing, we've got espresso martini infatuations. We've got the fact that there is a National Espresso Martini Day, and we've got Buffalo Wild Wings. Where else could you get an espresso protein?
I was just curious about where they're sourcing the protein in this drink, so I did a little bit of research here. They're using muscle milk protein powder in the drink there. Very fascinating here. It's a stunt, ladies and gentlemen. This is a stunt, and we talk about it because it's stunty and it's interesting.
Yeah, I think you balance this. It's like, this is one of those things, they did it because they would make a social post about it.
Get some buzz, maybe.
And get some buzz, maybe get people talking about Buffalo Wild Wings.
So niche casting, advertising, content creators can talk about it.
Correct. Yeah, but I mean, are you going to get the espresso proteini? Are you getting lit off the Buffalo Wild Wings espresso proteini?
The CDC only recommends you have one of these drinks per day, so
What?
Probably have two.
When did they say that?
They didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just doing some math here in my head. You probably should be mixing.
How many grams of protein?
That's 10 grams of protein. You can have
You could have 40.
You can have unlimited grams of protein.
Responsibly, you could have unlimited grams of protein.
It's the caffeine in there too, with the dry rub mix.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Why they could have just stopped espresso proteini.
And we don't know which agency or if there was an agency involved in this.
This is one of
Might
those
be in-house.
where you're like, oh my god, like how far can marketing go? How far can we go with the stunts?
The stunts.
It doesn't end. It does not end. Next story, last story, some ad agency news, a big win, big news. DraftKings, what do you got, Gino?
Yeah, so DraftKings is closing up a creative review here, and it looks like it's going to be Translation and Rosewood Creative here. Translation is going to be doing the creative work for the online sportsbook. Rosewood is going to be doing the jackpot lottery app, Jack. So two different agencies here that they're going to be working with shortly. They also have an in-house agency. I think that's worth noting too.
Well, it's interesting.
Let's break it down.
Because FanDuel recently they brought on Arts and Letters, and they've been putting out some great work. And so you see DraftKings, they gave in. They said we gotta get it. We gotta get an ad agency, creative agency in here.
And they got two.
And they got two. And they split up. I think FanDuel also has that set up.
I think
where
so
they
too.
do. I don't know. I know they work with Arts and Letters. I don't know
Who else?
but it's the exact same split up. But DraftKings and FanDuel, I think, are the clear like 1 and 2 when it comes to sports gambling, at least. And then you think about also their competition with like Kalshi and Polymarket now.
The predictive markets betting.
And Kalshi and Polymarket have had one of the crazier marketing strategies. They do so many undisclosed ads on every site. Every site. It's
the Kalshi
crazy.
AI ads. They're still doing that.
They're still doing that, but it's also like they get everyone to do undisclosed ads, which is brutal.
And let me just, Rosewood I don't know as much about, but Translation obviously founded by Steve Stout, music executive, really good at cultural moments here. We had Jonathan Ackway on the podcast a couple weeks back here, but excited for them. They're known for the work with the NBA here, so they already work with the NBA. So it seems like a no-brainer.
It's exciting. I mean, you want to see good stuff. Gambling ads are pretty tough to navigate because of the amount of like regulation involved. So what you see a lot of is people resorting to just like iconic celebrities to get cultural relevance and like leaning on that to make up for the fact that like it's kind of hard to make a gambling ad while following all the restrictions. So it's a tough one, but excited to see. Translation, that's a great agency. So
great agency. Rosewood too. Congrats to you guys on the big win here. Next up, well, that's a 2-minute drill.
Yeah, that's
sponsored
a 2-minute
by
drill.
potentially you.
Potentially you. You can get your logo on the show if you want, and you can sponsor the show and keep this thing rolling. You got your logo here, son. We can get fancy with it. But we got a special guest. Let's tee it up for the people at home. Very special guest that's joining. But before we do that, I think we'll want to talk about it a little bit, right?
Yeah. I have a teleprompter that's getting loaded up here. We're trying to do the teleprompter, but it's
a lot.
There's a lot of work.
It's a lot
that goes
of work
into this stuff.
It is. But
all right. Let's see if I can read this. All right, let's bring in our next guest. Thom Glover is the founder and chief creative officer of American Haiku. It's a creative company he launched in 2024 that's already working with brands like New Balance, Yahoo, Away, Chase, and Sakara. Jack, this is
Thom, he's an Emmy-nominated creative director and writer. American Haiku was recently named Ad Age's Newcomer Agency of the Year.
And listen to that, Thom Glover joins us now. Thom, welcome to the Breaking and Entering show.
Thom, great to see you. Where do we begin?
Let's go with the news.
Big news, Gino.
Let's go with the news here because I saw a pitch come in on behalf of Thom and team that they acquired Basement Freaks here. So let's talk about what that means.
Well, if you remember, Basement Freaks we did a video about it, but they did the Mozilla Firefox work that recently came out, and they were sworn to anonymity. Remember, they joined. If you watch this, if you follow our content, they like put themselves in garments and they covered themselves and they had voice changers. They're Basement Freaks, which coincidentally is Gino's nickname in high school. But anyways, it was kind of wild. People were like, what the hell is this? This is weird. Why is this agency? Who's involved with it?
It was actually credited on Ad Age, written by Tim Nudd. You can see in the bottom right that Basement Freaks made the work for Mozilla. But Thom, your team acquired Basement Freaks. What is your official statement on this matter?
Well, like everyone else, Jack and Gino, we saw Basement Freaks on your show in their balaclavas with the voice changers, and we thought those are the sort of people we would enjoy collaborating with. And it happened to coincide with a moment where lots of our clients were asking, what our underground clandestine collective capabilities were. So we got in touch, and one thing led to another, and we're thrilled to welcome the freaks to the American Haiku family.
What a moment.
Love that.
Newcomers to the Newcomer Agency of the Year. It's so what I want to ask, because I think a lot of people reached out to us when we had first kind of talked about launching the Mozilla work and the Basement Freaks having done it, and it being like, wow, this is new and different. Like, this is an agency that's doing something that doesn't fit the mold of your typical release of work and the press that goes around it. Can you speak maybe on behalf of the Basement Freaks and discuss why do something, why put in all that extra effort to break the mold?
I think it goes back to who Mozilla are. So Mozilla as a company are really interesting. They're sort of the internet's conscience, really. They have been for about 20 years. And we did a lot of work with them on kind of building out the world that they wanted to present to people. And then they were working with Basement Freaks, who are obviously a very unorthodox group. And what came to pass was this big campaign platform about the kind of future we all need to choose. So we got in touch with them and the freaks, and it all came together in a beautiful place. And I think there'll be more stuff coming from Mozilla and hopefully from the freaks very soon.
So exciting to see more of that. Gino.
Okay, so you guys woke up to some news. I believe it was on Monday. Newcomer Agency of the Year. And Thom, we go way back. I think we have a clip of us this past summer hanging out here somewhere. Maybe we'll pull that up. But we go way back here, so I'm excited to see the early success.
Welcome back to Tiny Terrace Talks. Very special guest joining us. Bring about Thom Glover. Put it there. Thank you for coming, sir. Take your seat. Thank you. Thom Glover, you are the founder and CCO of American Haiku. Is this correct?
Absolutely correct.
How you doing? Thank you so much for having me.
As Ad Age's Newcomer Agency of the Year.
No, I didn't. It's thrilling that Ad Age have recognised us for that. It's been a really exciting first full year of operation, and we've worked with some wonderful people, and it was great to get the nod. I think it's a great platform to build on. It's very exciting.
We had Greg Hahn on yesterday, who a couple of years ago, not too long ago, won Newcomer Agency of the Year himself with Mischief at No Fixed Address. And we asked him, what advice do you have for American Haiku? Jack asked him that. What did he say, Jack?
Oh, Greg said, listen, this is me being Greg, Thom. Yeah, this is me speaking on behalf of Greg.
I can imagine it.
Yes.
I'm imagining the glasses and the...
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Let me get into it. So he said basically that there's a reason that you got there. Don't lose that initial thing that's gotten you the success, and keep with it. I think obviously Greg is a huge proponent, big advocate, big champion of this independent agency movement and the long game that comes with that.
So Thom, what was your reason for starting American Haiku? What was your why?
I think we sort of wanted to approach the work a little bit differently to what had been done before. I mean, a lot of us worked at Droga 5, which is obviously an incredible school, really. I think you guys pointed this out a couple of days ago, how many people in that A-list list this year were kind of ex-Drogans and worked with David or whatever. So we came out of that. There were lots of amazing things with American Haiku, but we sort of felt that we wanted to come at clients a bit differently and build worlds for brands rather than campaigns. And we set out to kind of approach clients' problems in a bit more of a three-dimensional way and solve problems for years, not weeks. And whether we've delivered on that yet or not, I leave that to you guys to judge. But we're really trying to make work that competes with the best of everything in culture, not just the best of advertising. So it's a slightly different ambition to a lot of the other places we'd worked previously.
And I'm curious then, what do you think on your submission to A-list stood out to the team at Ad Age? What were you really proud of that you were like, we have to get this in the submission?
I think, well, we're proud of all of it. It's been a really exciting year, lots of different things, and we've taken on some new relationships. We're really excited about what's coming out for those. But the one that sticks out for me is the work that we've done with New Balance. So the first thing we ever had out was Grey Days, this kind of big platform that really dramatized New Balance's world. They're an amazing company. They're sort of stubbornly independent, and unlike a lot of companies in their space, they care more about restraint than hype. So we mapped all of that out with Grey Days, and then they came back to us when they were getting into entertainment, cutting this incredible deal with Rosalia, and we worked in a kind of deep process to think about what happens when the world of New Balance meets the world of Rosalia. What is the kind of point of overlap? And we ended up making a campaign that was not film focused, that was sort of led with social, with lots of other inputs, and was based on kind of old Italian photo romanzo books. So it told a story in a way that hadn't been told before, and it really brought together what's amazing about New Balance and what's amazing about Rosalia. So that was a great project.
That's awesome. I want to go back to your comment about building worlds for brands. What is the pitch when you go to a brand, and it sounds like you're kind of building for more of a long-term thing that maybe, I don't know, you probably sacrifice short-term hype and buzz for long-term world building, but what's your pitch to brands when you come in and ask them to build a world?
Well, just to your point about sacrificing short-term buzz, I think we've been really lucky to work with a bunch of clients who realize that culture moves a bit faster than marketing, and they want to be integral to culture. They don't just want to interrupt it. So they have kind of big ambitions anyway. And then our pitch for world building is, I think, when you look at the things that you really love in culture, they're very, very worked out. Like if you think about any TV show you've become obsessed with and you've stuck with it for 5 seasons, there is a Bible behind that, where, you know, the way every character moves, the kind of pens they use, the way that every scene is put together has been meticulously thought out. And that means that when you say, okay, we want to do an episode on Subway, or we want to introduce a new character, the rules are kind of in place, so that a lot of stuff is known and you can have something continuous that people really relate to and keep coming back to. So you're pulling people into the way you want to conduct yourselves rather than having to kowtow to what's happening outside. So that's kind of the way we pitch world building, that we're creating a sort of bigger canvas for clients and to think about their brands. And the unit of value goes from being just a campaign to being a bigger story that plays out over a longer period of time. And I think that's very exciting for lots of the clients we work with.
I like that. Like the idea of the comparison for the brand and the marketing of a brand to like a blockbuster, like TV show kind of thing. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, we all love marketing, but if you think about the things that you are really getting excited about when the next episode comes out, or you're kind of binge watching until 3 a.m, it's entertainment. And I think taking the entertainment playbook and applying it to the way we work with brands through world building, through looking for new ways of doing things, through craft, is just something we all get really excited about, and our clients do too.
I have one last question before we wrap up, Thom. A comment, and we talked about it earlier, the amount of Droga alumni that have gone on in the last year between yourself, the crew at Isle of Any, Felix Richter, creative leadership at Mother, Tara Lawal is the CCO for the US at Rethink, Ad Age's Agency of the Year. And I got a comment, shout out to Matt Williams, he's the co-founder at Open Fortune. And he said, Droga Mafia greater than PayPal Mafia, question mark. Mm-hmm. So my question to you, Thom, what was happening at Droga? What's the secret behind the ability to produce not only creative talent, but creative talent that can lead agencies and lead them immediately to success?
Well, I think it was an atmosphere that was both very competitive, in that, like, there were some great briefs available, but you really had to kind of fight your way to get to them, which meant everyone worked extremely hard. And it's the classic 10,000 hours, you know, the more you do, the better you get. But it was also, David was very empowering. Like when he felt you were ready, you know, you had opportunities to go in front of clients and manage things. And he wasn't a kind of creative leader who said everything has to be the way I do it. He empowered lots of different people. Like initially, you know, people like Neil, who's still there, had a completely different tone to David, or Kevin Brady, and then later Felix and Alex and Toby and Laurie and Tara and all the people you've mentioned. There's loads more as well, like Alto and Miramar are ex-Droga agencies. Mm-hmm. Justin's running Saatchi. There's tons of people out doing, as you said, the equivalent of the PayPal Mafia. And I think that's just testament to what David and the rest of his team built.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great place to work for a very long time.
Very cool. Yeah, I just had to get that in there.
That was great. That was great question, Joe.
Thanks. Well, Thom, thanks so much for joining. Congrats on the acquisition of Basement Freaks. Congratulations on Ad Age's Newcomer Agency of the Year. We'll have to run it back very soon, get a little reunion for us in the south of France, perhaps. But until then, thanks so much, Thom, and congratulations again.
Yeah, I'll bring my white trousers. Looking forward to it.
Sounds good.
Alrighty.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. How about we bring in someone who studies youth culture for a living, Jack? Switch it up here. Casey Lewis writes After School, a newsletter breaking down what Gen Z and Gen A are doing, whether they're watching stuff, buying stuff, talking about stuff. It gets out there 5 times a week. It's been a go-to. What's it say, Jack?
Read for marketers trying to understand the next generation of consumers. Gino.
Nice.
Casey has spent
how long?
2 decades studying youth trends with editorial roles at Teen Vogue, MTV, New York Magazine, and earlier work in trend research at the Intelligence Group and Y-Pulse. Casey Lewis is a legend. Casey Lewis is amazing. Casey Lewis joins us now. Casey, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Show. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, it's beautiful. Casey, you are shining. You are obviously in Florida right now. How is it down there?
It's lovely.
Oh, it's great to hear.
It's lovely. But I'll see you guys in Austin soon.
Yes, excited for that. Excited for South by Southwest. How many times have you been to South by?
So, you said that I've been studying youth culture for 2 decades, which I'm 38. So that's like a little bit of I'm rounding up a bit, but not so much, because my first time at South by Southwest, I was 17 and I had a blog about youth trends. And so it's 2 decades. It really is true. So I went in, I want to say 2004.
Yeah.
Wow.
Were you guys even born then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Casey, you've been doing this so long. Like, when you do these interviews or you're sharing knowledge with people, what are you most excited to update people on?
Well, I love interviewing people, and I love to talk to, especially with Gen Alpha. It's been very interesting to have these conversations with 5-year-olds, 12-year-olds, to sort of figure out like what are the differences, what is changing around this generation. I also like to poke holes in some of these theories, like Gen Alpha is X, Gen Z is Y. Like, you guys know that 15, 16-year-olds, the youngest Zs, have nothing in common with like 29 to I think the oldest Zs are turning 30. Like, that's a very vast age group. So I like to figure out like what can we actually say about these generations versus like what's just a catchy headline.
Yeah, I think a great encapsulation of that, Casey, is your reporting around what the youth is doing in their free time. I thought that was such an optimistic view on it, and also obviously it was real and optimistic, which I feel like is missing a lot of times. Whenever especially older generations speak about the generations that are coming after them, it always comes in a viewpoint of, my generation is better than yours, these kids are done for, they're cooked. But I want you to expand more on that exploration and explain kind of what you found when you were talking with the youth about what they're doing in their free time.
Yeah, totally. So I think there's this sort of misconception that all kids today are iPad kids. They only exist in front of screens. In my experience, I just did this Business Week piece where I interviewed 15 kids about their bedrooms and their stuff, but also previously I partnered with Day One on a deep dive into Gen Alpha, and I interviewed probably 50 kids for that. That might be an exaggeration, but I spent months talking to kids in groups, one-on-one, and just to figure out like what do they actually like? How are they actually spending their time? The big takeaway is they're big hobby kids. They love puzzles. They love crafts. They like cooking. It's the same as when we were kids, like it's like kids are kids. And I found that to be really like a relief to find out, they're still really into Pokemon. Oh, they love Harry Potter because their millennial parents introduced them to Harry Potter. I find, researching trends and generations, it's a relief to learn that at the end of the day, adolescence, all of this is the same. It's uncomfortable, whether you're on Snapchat or, the platforms may change, but the feelings remain the same.
Yeah.
This is fascinating to me. And I'm thinking about our audience right now. There's probably people tuned in now or going to be tuning in later that are strategists at creative ad agencies, that they are in charge of doing research of their own on these different audiences. Maybe it's falling in the Gen Z or Gen A here. I guess, like, what words of wisdom would you have for the strategists out there that might be tasked with figuring out a specific segment and what goes on in their minds?
My best advice would just to be as online as possible and never stop scrolling. I mean, sincerely though, these generations, these kids, they're changing so their preferences, what they're into, what they're excited about is changing so quickly that you have to keep your finger on the pulse. You have to continue to be curious about what's next, because you can't just say, okay, Gen Alpha is this, Gen Z is this, and just run with it for years, because these platforms, every day is the reason I started after school is because every day it's like there's a new thing to sort of understand. And, I wanted to like figure out how to like think about it from a large scale and keep track of it all. And it's really hard to do that, but you have to have like a daily practice, I think, and understand like, there one example is I talked to a bunch of kids about Labubus, and several of them, kids, different ages, different regions, told me that Labubus were so last year. They, and I think that that's a good sort of understanding of like how quickly culture moves, even for a 6-year-old.
Well, so this is what I think is what people maybe get wrong a lot, because you will go and I think South by Southwest is great, but just using like these conferences or panels where the discussion and coming out of it is what you're talking about, where you're generalizing an entire generation based on one fad or one moment. So like I could totally see the Labubu craze happening and then people turning around and being like, okay, Gen Alpha loves stuffed animals more than any other generation in human history. So I think that is such an interesting thing to note. But for you, Casey, since you're in it every day, how do you balance this idea of like keeping track of the trends and like what are those trends, while also like noting the iterations that happen and not letting those small iterations or small moments define an entire trend?
This is a perfectly timed question because I'm working on the newsletter right now, and I saw that Harper's Bazaar published a story that was about the romanticizing one's 9 to 5 TikTok trend, which, this is something that's been evolving for a while. But I looked up, and actually in 2022, New York Times had written about the romanticizing one's office life trend. And so I'm looking at these articles like, is there anything new here? Like, are there any new takeaways that we can possibly take? Like, is 9 romantic? It's just hard to understand. But a lot of times with culture reporting and these trends sort of, coming back with like a very small change, or like I want to know, like, have we advanced a little bit, or is this simply a publication sort of trotting, the same trend that was covered, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? So I think, with research, it's like constantly digging a little bit deeper to say, is there anything truly new here? And a lot of times, like New York Times, Wall Street Journal, they'll cover these trends like what we would feel is a little late, but the reporting is so good.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually interviewing sources. We are digging a little bit deeper. They're peeling away layers. And so I would say, keep interrogating some of these trends. Don't say, I already know everything I need to know about this, or at least that's what I do. But at the same time, I'm constantly asking, this feels familiar. Have we, is this new? Have we been here before? And given that trends are so cyclical, the answer is typically yes, we have been here before. But you can typically still learn something new.
So bringing it back to the study that you did on Gen Alpha kids, the interviews, up to 50 people that you interviewed, I guess what was like the most surprising thing that you might have learned coming out of that study?
The nuances of screen time in different households. Like, it's so fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to some kids who had like next to none in terms of screen time. And then some kids it was sort of a free for all. I don't envy parents today having to navigate this, because, they're seeing so many different things where it's like they're hearing if your kid isn't on Snapchat at all, they're going to be cut off socially. If your kid's on Snapchat, they're going to be exposed to drugs at the age of 10. Like there's just so much
wild.
competing information. It's wild. But I will say, you know, in talking to all of these kids, some of whom have, you know, all the screen time in the world, some of whom have none, like they're all like really interested kids. And I do think like at the end of the day, like we, you know, with Jonathan Haidt and all, you know, the anxious generation, at the end of the day, I think I'm a tech optimist, I would say, but I think that humans are resilient. I understand that probably having, you know, doom scrolling before your brain is fully formed is net negative, but I do think kids are resilient, and they're not going to all grow up to be one or the other based on their screen time. But yeah, there's a lot of stories I think that have been not written about how different parents or different households are navigating this, and as kids get older, like, you know, how kids themselves are getting around it, and then also you take away phones from schools. You know, there's so many like bell to bell bans. It's fascinating.
Yeah,
but it's, you know,
It's
I
wild.
can't imagine
I
what
can't
the
imagine.
parents
I
do.
know I have nieces and nephews, and
What do they
the oldest one is like 9 or 10, and he has a phone and like he uses the iPad, but I think he doesn't have a phone number, so he has like so like I'll get text from like the email address, you know, and it's an iMessage thing. But yeah, it's like I don't know how you would navigate that. For us, I feel like growing up, it was, when do you get a cell phone, like to text your friends, and it kind of came down to like the age gap between me and my oldest sibling is 12 years. And my oldest sibling didn't get her phone until she was like a junior in high school. And then I got a phone when I was
crazy.
But she was also, that was like the average time when people were getting it.
Yeah.
And then I got my first cell phone when I was in 5th grade. And it was kind of like I think my parents were like just seeing what all the other parents and like the average, and then waiting a little bit longer, because like I still got my phone later than most of my friends.
Oh, really?
And that was the big obstacle. But now, Casey, it's like, when do I let my child use social media? Because now everyone's making a Snapchat when they're in 3rd grade.
yeah. You know, Gino, also to bring it back, one of the most surprising things to me also talking to these kids, because I think we think that they're all on TikTok. Literally none of them were on TikTok. None of them consumed TikTok. A lot of them consumed TikTok via Reels or YouTube Shorts, and they were all on Pinterest.
Stop it.
Oh my, really?
Because parents feel that Pinterest is a safe platform.
Makes sense.
And you know, a lot of them feel like, I don't even know if you would consider it a social media platform. I think I would, but there's not a ton of like socialness happening on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pinterest is like quietly a powerhouse.
Wait, did you figure out why they're not on TikTok? Were their parents like kind of stepping in? Were they not interested in it at that specific time of those interviews?
Yeah, I think because so much, I think TikTok has a pretty bad. Well, certainly when I was doing the vast majority of the interviews for the day one report, that this was like the peak. Is it going to be banned?
Okay,
Like
got it.
you know that, and so I think it just had such a bad like reputation that parents felt like that was an easy platform to say no way. And yeah, I should do some follow-up research to see if that has changed at all, although I suspect not. And you know, with TikTok, I think you're supposed to be like at least 13, if not 16, to be on it. I should know this. But so and of course kids can get around it, but I think if your peers aren't really posting or consuming it, like you don't really care.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The last thing I want to bring up is I think another one thing that I really enjoy about the Substack and the content that you make, Casey, is really like taking a step back and starting to question maybe some of the marketing practices that go into promoting products with Gen Alpha, especially around like the beauty, the fashion, the skincare aspect of the world, and saying, you know, is it okay that we're promoting beauty products and trying to get 10-year-olds to buy certain products and using these marketing practices for that purpose? Especially, you talked recently about a 13-year-old skincare CEO. I just want to let you kind of describe what you learned, you're reporting that, and your thoughts and takeaways from all that went on with the 13-year-old skincare CEO.
Yeah, you know, I have less grievances when it comes to this 13-year-old skincare CEO, because she is not a creator herself. She's not an influencer. She, I think, just I think maybe her family knew the right people, and she was able to make this happen. And she's trying to create a line that's for her peers, and the cut reporting on it is amazing. Everyone should read it if you haven't yet. But what I have more of a problem with is or what worries me more, I should say, is Sephora launched a line with this huge YouTuber, Salish Matter, who I think just turned 16, but the vast majority of her audience is much younger. And I have said before, but when I think my parents let me get I was obsessed with teen magazines, which I'm sure you guys are shocked to learn. But I got my first 17 magazine when I was 12. And so, you're always wanting what is being marketed towards, the older group. And so, if Salish is 16, most of her audience is 10 and under. And so when she did this like big pop-up at I think it was the big mall in New Jersey, there were girls doing TikTok hauls, but they weren't able to this is not product placement, but they weren't able to read the label. So they were too young to read, and yet they were still walking through their haul. And so it scares me to think that these 6-year-olds are learning learning about perfect skin and glossy lips. And we all are, we know these things abstractly, I think, at age 6, but to see the person that you look up to marketing this perfect skin, and then you're like, oh, I need to go to the store and buy this $24 moisturizer. It's just and we're gonna see more of it. It's like Mr. Beast marketing,
Right.
Stuff to boys. It's all the same, but as a woman, the skincare, the beauty stuff kind of worries me extra, just because what is that telling girls about their appearances?
100%. Yeah, it's all it's super interesting. That's why I think it's so important. If you are not following Casey Lewis's Substack after school, go do so. It's one of my favorite reads. And it just does a great job of explaining and keeping up to date on what's happening in youth culture, because it's the blind spot for everyone, because it's the group that you don't hang out with or spend time with or see in culture. And so Casey does a great job. But Casey, thank you so much for joining. We will see you in Austin.
Yes.
And thank you again.
Thank you guys, and congrats on the live show. I'm so excited for you guys.
Thanks so much, Casey.
Okay, take care.
Take care. Oh, it's fascinating. That Gino's got them.
Can we get a close up on this?
Can we get a? It looks good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
You did a good job on that interview. So did Casey.
You did good too.
Thanks, man.
Ross was great. Ellie
Ross
was
was
great.
pulling up we pull up stuff now during the live show.
Yeah,
I like that.
did that happen? Were we
Yeah, he was
doing that?
pulling up articles.
Nice. Ross, how do you think that interview went?
It went pretty well. She had some interesting insights. Yeah, we'll see about the future.
Ellie, thoughts from you? Because Ellie has a 15-year-old sister.
Is that
I do.
Jenny?
I was just thinking about this. I think she's fabulous. She
Who?
looked fabulous. She was the smartest person I've ever heard. And yeah.
What is your?
Wow.
I guess I don't. This might be HIPAA. I don't want to ask you about what your the trends of the 15-year-old universe, but does it tie in? Are you connecting the dots here, from what Casey's saying, and then what you're experiencing having a sister in Gen A?
Absolutely. I mean, she does it for a living. I do it because I'm forced to, because I'm related to her. But I just spent a weekend with my sister and a bunch of her soccer teammates, and it was actually fascinating to listen to them and just what they find funny. Stuff that they find funny is really complicated and kind of messed up, but it's interesting. They're a weird generation, but it's almost super important that we try to understand them.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's what Casey was just saying.
Yeah, keep it real. Keep it real. Yeah. I guess a 15-year-old. I think of my 15-year-old self. My comedy was probably not understood by, people that were 10 years older than me. But
This is true.
But great on the field research by Ellie. Appreciate it. That was Casey Lewis. Our next guest, let's bring in Brett Dashevsky. Is the founder of Creator Economy NYC and the co-founder of SIFC, a platform that analyzes comment sections to understand what audiences actually think and what trends are starting to emerge online.
So he also built the Creator Economy New York City into one of the fastest growing creator communities in New York. So he brings together creators, marketers, and platforms for events, conversations about where the industry is freaking headed, Jack. So Brett's gonna join us now. Brett, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Show.
Gentlemen, how's it going?
He's making good social videos too nowadays. I've been
Yeah,
liking your
well,
content.
we can get into the social strategy too. But Brett, it's great to see you. How do you think our intro went?
I thought intro was fantastic, great information. But I have to ask, Jack, is there a bathroom break? You got 3 cups of coffee in front of you. Are they all from different locations? Is this a sponsorship?
It's not a sponsorship.
Hey, whoa, let's stop right there, Brett. Let's not say the S word before anything's locked in. But I will say, yes, I have been drinking a lot of coffees. We've got a sophisticated situation here, but I can assure you the bathroom breaks are taken care of. Hydrated. Well, actually, coffee dehydrates you, right?
Not enough. I think that's debunked.
Okay.
Have you been seeing this coffee yogurt boy on Instagram at all? There's this creator who's been, working to create his own trend. He's based out of LA, and basically he fills up a cup of coffee with cold brew. He does some coconut water, and then he puts in like 2 scoops of Greek yogurt and mixes it around. And while he's doing it, he yells, "Coffee yogurt boy, coffee yogurt boy." And he's been like really building a trend around it. So it's interesting. I'm very intrigued to try it out.
Coffee yogurt boy?
I have coffee and yogurt.
Yeah.
Is it Greek yogurt, Brett?
I mean, we may need to get him on the show. He's LA based, but if we could do a live coffee yogurt boy, I think it'd be really interesting.
It's pulled up. Ross is. I can see it. If the audience also wants to follow along, they can just look it up. But coffee yogurt boy, here you go. We got it on. We got it on right now.
Do we have it on?
Oh man, that's crazy. Coffee yogurt boy. But this is the kind of creator insights that you just come to expect from a guy like Brett. Brett, how much of your job is just being being online and being in the know with all the creators that are coming up the ranks?
That's just a natural illness that I have with phone addiction, being on the internet all the time. I'll be honest that I'm not scouring social media at all to be looking at or finding different types of creators, new creators. Frankly, just like things that pop up on my feed naturally, I've just become more observant of. It's kind of one of those things like, if you're a lawyer, you start to see the world differently. And now operating in this creator economy space, when I see a video come across my feed, there's certain things that I recognize, like, oh, this person's doing this well, or, oh, I see what they're trying to do here. So I bring up the coffee yogurt boy example just because we hosted an event at Creator Economy NYC recently, and we had 3 different talks from creators. And one of the talks was led by this creator, Gabrielle Judge. Her handle is at Miss Anti-Work. And she basically created a trend called lazy girl jobs. And it's just interesting. It became a common thing that people were tacking onto. So when I came across the coffee yogurt boy guy, I'm like, interesting. He's creating his own trend, right? He's not leaning into what's already trending. He's trying to create his own thing where he does a little ASMR with the coffee and creates his own concoction that now he's doing collaborations with. And he's been growing slowly, but those things take time. But it's just interesting how he's kind of creating his own trend. But that's kind of the things that I tend to observe when I'm scrolling on social media.
In the for the world of the creator economy, you have such a good, obviously, sense of the people that are making the things, especially in the B2B world, the content that's cutting through and doing really well. I want to ask about that balance. What have you found is that good balance or maybe ethos when it comes to creating new content, taking inspiration from things that are working, but not copying things? Because to your point, coffee yogurt boy, it's not like there was another coffee yogurt boy and then he was like, I could just do this. It was a very new, unique idea. But talk about balancing the idea of best practices in social while also being unique and creating something new.
Yeah, it's interesting because it varies from person to person. At Creator Economy NYC, we just hosted an event with Oren John, if folks are familiar. Big creator,
friend of the show.
recurring
friend of the
guest.
show, big creative director, the internet's creative director. And he stated something that was interesting, where I think that, you need to balance this element of having reach. And sometimes a great way to get reach is by leaning into trends and just kind of adapting them for your own niche to an extent. And then kind of having more of that original type of content. And so he kind of looks at his content strategy as like a proper, marketing funnel, where you have your top of your top of funnel stuff that's more of the high level reach, it's more broad topics or like those trends. And the middle funnel is more of those specific things to the audience he's really trying to target or to go deep with and to build that affinity. And then that bottom of the funnel is the things that perhaps are him doing a brand deal or like marketing one of his own products. I think that if you really want to grow and build that affinity, you need to have some of that more originality, because if you're just growing through trends, frankly, it's like there's no foundation. It's like you're building your account and following on like a house of cards, because then like when you do decide to get serious, it's kind of like, oh, I was following you because you had like a good dance move or like you looked good in a video or something like that.
Yes, that makes a ton of sense. And then a lot of our audience it's a lot of people that are in marketing and are trying to figure out the best way to leverage creators as well as creator audiences. The consumer world, I think like when you think of a typical influencer, those brands I think have started to get really, really good at the idea of hands off. They're figuring out how to work with creators. I've seen some really, really great stuff in the consumer, traditional entertainment. You're doing influencing or content creation for like, skincare or a beer or whatever. In terms of the B2B world, what is something that you can say to like marketers in B2B land that are just now probably getting into using creators? What's some piece of advice or some action items perhaps that they can take from all the things that you know about B2B creators?
Yeah, it's a great conversation because B2B creator marketing has been booming. I think that obviously when we think of influencer marketing, you think of the traditional element of, Ulta Beauty or Elf Beauty partnering with a creator or one of the fashion brands. But what we've seen over the past few years, especially with LinkedIn absolutely crushing it, and that both of y'all have experience with, is that, these SaaS companies, these companies that want to target decision makers or, solopreneurs, it's sometimes tough to really, build in a sexy way as like a B2B type of company. What if you're a Notion or you're an Anthropic or I don't know, if you're an Intuit, right? And so you can kind of basically lean into creator marketing as a way to like borrow the reach of creators. I mean, that's ultimately the creator economy at its core, or creator marketing at its core, where you are tapping into someone else's audience who already has built this affinity, as we're discussing. So I think that for a lot of these B2B brands, it's about recognizing the fact that so much of content has now leaned into telling stories or teaching people, and who's paying attention to that stuff. A lot of times it's folks who perhaps are building their own businesses, they're working in marketing, they're working in finance, and they are watching these people who are basically these business personalities, right, for lack of a better word. And so I think that it's a great way to just get your message across to those audiences, and just dive deeper. Like Zapier has been doing it really well. I saw Zapier did also a trip, which is so interesting. You think of you think of like the influencer trips.
Yes.
They're going out to the islands. I forget what the Tarte influencer trip. Now Zapier was taking people out to like Grand Cayman. I forget where they went.
Wait, what does Zapier do again? What do they do?
No one knows what Zapier does. Not kidding. They they zap things.
He's like automate AI workflow. They automate AI workflows. So
they automate AI workflows. Them and everybody else.
Yeah. Wait. So Zapier's like, we got it. We're gonna bring everyone to the NVIDIA corporate headquarters to see how the chips get made.
And you have everyone taking their content, and then they post that on LinkedIn, and then the idea is that people are like, oh, Zap, interesting. Oh, I need this now, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So people aren't paying attention to Zapier, the brand, but they are paying attention to, Brandon Smithrick talking about Zapier, or Jack Appleby talking about Zapier. And, I just think it's a unique way for them to spend their marketing dollars, and I'll take it.
At least it's new and different. Like at least they're doing something new that like, even just that sentence alone, we brought a group of B2B influencers on a trip alone will get you all the earned attention that you would want.
Exactly.
Brett, what are you doubling down on right now that you might feel like other people are undervaluing?
Great question.
Great. I mean, in terms of from a business standpoint or as an individual creator.
What is the right answer to that question?
Ooh, that's a good. Your choice, Brett. Either on the business side.
I interview you guys.
First off, Brett, don't ask follow-up questions.
Yeah, don't do that.
Just guess.
That's how this works. Okay, so I'll take it on actually from the two angles. One, from like a business standpoint, Creator Economy NYC, and even SIFC, doubling down on just community building. At its core, Creator Economy NYC is a community-led media and events business, and IRL has been what the foundation of what we're building is. I would be remiss to say that it's not necessarily underrated. I think IRL is the big talk nowadays, right? Everyone's talking about, oh, the shift to IRL. I mean, I've been preaching that for a long time, but like we are seeing this idea of let's focus on IRL experiences, use URL, right? Digital content to basically amplify what happened there. Take the Zapier example. That's a prime example of them kind of doubling down on an IRL experience. And then like, as you're kind of posting and working in that loop, you're leveraging your community and your fans to kind of sustain what you're building. And so with Creator Economy NYC, I mean, we are just working on creating really great in real life experiences and partnering with awesome brands that want to tap into our community, right? It's no different than them partnering with an online creator. Now they're partnering with Brett and Creator Economy NYC for an in real life moment. So we have a great event coming up with like Relay, and we're going to be talking about, finance in the creator economy in a unique way. And so just double downing on that. And then with SIFC, I mean, same idea where it's like we're doing dinners. I'm actually pairing the companies together. So it's like a Creator Economy NYC and SIFC dinner. We call it our Marketing Innovators Dinner. It's a great way for us to embed ourselves with the social media professionals, the social insights professionals. Hey, it's like we're behind our computer all the time, but that in real life element enables you to just have that face-to-face connection. You can feel people's aura in real life and the vibes. And again, doubling down on in real life stuff with doubling down on taking content there and using that as your content online.
Amplify. You had a really good advice. We'll leave the people with this. If you're hosting a dinner, make sure you don't go right into seating. Have a little happy hour, drink before, a little cocktail 15, 20, 30 minutes beforehand so people can socialize.
This flow.
That's from Brett.
That's from Brett. That's just, nobody knows dinner like Brett knows dinners. I went to one of these dinners. It was awesome, confirmed, it was fun. You said that, listen to this flow though, because you start, let people have a drink, don't go right into dinner right away, and then no assigned seating, because you can then sit with whoever you were like, talking with and carrying over that conversation versus being like, oh shit, I have to sit next to this person.
Wow, that's a hot take. We're gonna have to hear about that in the comments if that's the right way to do it.
I saw the flow. I get what you're saying though. If you want to manipulate the seating, well, you obviously want to put yourself next to the people. It
depends on the goals, really. I mean, for me, I've been to dinners where there's assigned seating, and it's like I was just in such a good conversation. Like, let's keep it moving, and then. I know from experience that naturally during like dessert time, once people are done their meals, everyone's like, I'm gonna come over there, and they go around the table and they sit, and it's like, great, don't need to do this musical chairs stuff. Like, it's gonna happen naturally. No one wants to be forced into something. They don't want it to feel like it's a strict schedule. It's like, hey, look, we're here for dinner, good vibes. You do a little intro in the beginning, sit where you want to sit.
He's good.
It's good. I'll tell you what, everybody go check out Creator Economy.
Yes, and SIFC as well. Great stuff going on from Brett.
Thank
you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Boom. Brett, I call him the godfather of the New York City creator economy.
Yeah,
that's my
get much better than that.
Moniker, is that the word?
I don't know.
What's the word for like someone's nickname? Anyone know? No one's listening to me.
Nobody's listening.
The moniker, I think, is what it's called. I don't know.
Monarchy?
Mikey Malarkey? Is that what you said?
No, my
It's our buddy from home. I'm so hungry I could eat Mikey Malarkey right now.
Oh, I love that.
That is a great
We should have talked about that with Casey. Let's get the teleprompter going here.
Yeah, speaking of trends, speaking of culture, speaking of social media, speaking of our buddy Mikey.
Our next guest here, Michelle Blaser, is the writer behind the Pollinatr, a Substack newsletter focused on how brands connect with culture and stay relevant in fast-moving moments online.
Yeah, Michelle has spent 15 years in marketing and strategy, working with brands like Duolingo, Netflix, and Epic Games. She now shares insights with marketers on how to spot trends, shape ideas, and build brands that show up in culture. 3, 2, 1. Michelle Blaser joins us now. Michelle, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Show.
Hello, how's it going? It's so good to see y'all.
It's so good to see you too. How are you?
I'm good. You guys, I'm so excited to meet IRL on Friday in Austin.
That's right, meeting IRL at South by Southwest. Are you excited? How many, because we just had Casey Lewis on. She, the first time she went to South by Southwest, she was 17 years old. I will not date her. I will not date her in the sense of her age.
Oh, you got it.
But Michelle, this can't be your first South by, right?
No, it's been a while though. Let's see. When I lived in Boston, I went to South by, and that was like 12 years ago. And then when I was in college, which was before that, I went to South by because I went to UT, obviously hook 'em horns, everybody. So I've heard it's changed a bunch, but that it's also kind of the same in the best way, and it's going to be so much fun. And who doesn't want to go to Austin?
Who doesn't want to go to Austin?
I can't think of anybody. Everybody wants to go. Michelle, for our audience out here, what are you best at? What's your secret sauce? What are you so confident in that you can share with the world?
That's a great question. I would say my secret sauce is LinkedIn. I was Duolingo's LinkedIn social media manager for a year and a half, and I live and breathe the platform, and it's kind of random, but also amazing because so many brands and agencies and executives are starting to be interested in how to build their influence on the platform, but they don't know how to do it because Instagram and TikTok, they're wired really differently. The algorithm works very differently. And so LinkedIn is my favorite social media platform. I love y'all's presence on LinkedIn as well. And in my opinion, it's a huge creative white space opportunity because most of the time on LinkedIn, people think it's the humble brag platform. It's buttoned up, it's bland, it's boring. So anything you can do to push up against that really goes such a long way. And that's also what performs best. And so in my opinion, LinkedIn is not only a brand building platform, but then also a business driver. So it's really exciting because it's kind of on the up and up right now. It's the hottest new social media platform that's like 20 years old.
Yeah, the hottest club in New York City is LinkedIn.
That's right.
It's my LinkedIn feed. That's you saying that you love LinkedIn would people have such strong opinions on the other side of being like LinkedIn is cringe. LinkedIn,
so cringe.
Yeah, it's so cringe. It sucks, and everyone just talks about how great they are. What is like if someone challenges your notion of LinkedIn is like a great platform? What do you say to them? How do you explain to them that like it isn't just what you think of when people bring up LinkedIn?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So essentially there's like a handful of answers to this, but the first one is that you have to get over the cringe factor. So that's kind of like a big part of the workshops that I run. I kind of call it like LinkedIn therapy, because what it boils down to is that the people who stand out on LinkedIn are not the ones tooting their own horns and showboating. The people who are standing out are the ones who are actually sharing genuinely valuable insights. And those are the people who you want to follow. And the people who stand out as well are personable and they're vulnerable. And so that's kind of like creator marketing 101, right? Are the people that you want to follow are the people that you really like. But on LinkedIn, people think that you have to be kind of this like work robot and not be yourself, but that's just not the case at all. And there's such an opportunity to kind of show up in a dimensionalized way. And then from just like a true results standpoint, I have helped advise a bunch of different brands and agencies from B2B to B2C. Like when we worked on Duolingo, we drove 38 million organic impressions in 1 year, which is massive. And we also increased the pipeline of applicants to Duolingo. So at the high level, you're seeing a lot of results, and then also on the ground floor. Same with B2B. In my opinion, what I think is really fascinating is that B2B brands are actually first movers on the platform to do things really interesting, whereas B2C brands tend to be the first movers. But when you, like one of the B2B brands, it's a SaaS healthcare startup that I manage their strategy. And it's so fascinating because even if they're not getting like maybe as much reach or engagement on some of their posts, they hear it in their sales calls. Like, oh, I saw that case study that y'all posted on LinkedIn, because there's so many LinkedIn lurkers out there. All of the people on LinkedIn, like a large majority, they're just scrolling. They're not engaging. They're not liking, but they're there. They're watching. And so it's just a matter of time before the platform continues to evolve, where more and more people are going to be showing up. And so in my opinion, the opportunity is now, because LinkedIn is all about consistency. So you have to show up almost every day consistently over time to have that compound success. And so the brands and agencies who are doing it now are so smart, and the ones who want to show up a year from now are going to be a few years behind.
I hear all the time, I think a lot of people that will listen to this are people that maybe work in communications or PR or work at an ad agency or a brand or a B2B place. And they always talk about, I'm the comms person, I'm the PR person, I also have to run our LinkedIn page also. Yep. And like, you know, it's very hard to get content approved. We have a lot of layers of approval. We don't really know what we're doing on LinkedIn. We kind of just have this account, and sometimes we post about like a big win or a case study or a speaking opportunity like one time every 4 weeks. What's your advice if you're to pretty much do more with less? Like, what's a really effective initial strategy that you would bring to someone who already has a lot going on but also needs to now run their company's LinkedIn page?
This is a great question, Jack. I did this job in the past and I sucked at it, so I'm actually really curious for this answer.
It's a great question. So there's there's a two-pronged approach that I suggest. So the first one is employee pages drive 8 times more engagement than company pages. So if you have limited resources, identifying 1 to 2 employees, whether it's an executive or people who are already posting, and really helping those people succeed, that's going to get you reach. And then from a company page standpoint, there are so many scrappy tactics that we used at Duolingo that I still use today that honestly are tactics that perform better than some of the more produced stuff. So for example, Slack was my favorite thing. I would just go roam the halls of Slack and find interesting little things happening in a bunch of the different channels. So for example, there's this like funny channel at Duolingo that's like overheard at Duolingo. And so for example, someone posted like, you know, hot take that ketchup is the worst condiment. And so part of our like strategy was to talk about the culture of the company to get people to want to work there. And so we posted a poll that's saying hot take, ketchup is the worst condiment. And that performed like crazy gangbusters impressions because it's interesting, it's unique. So think of like, go around the halls of your office, take pictures. Like, what about the dogs who you bring to your office? Like, there's so many interesting cultural nuggets. Like, what kind of fun holiday celebrations do you have, or summer parties, or like traditions, or inside jokes? Like, these are all things that are like amazing content for LinkedIn that people don't realize. So you don't have to go produce a whole video. You don't have to do this like fancy document. You can literally just use like screenshots of like Slack messages or pictures from the office and just post those. People want to see the real version of the company. They don't want to see the fake version. And that's what people have been so used to. So anything that can be real is what you should go for. And that tends to be the easier thing to produce as well, which is nice.
Yeah, but this doesn't make sense to me, because don't you have to establish the content pillars, the messaging and tone of voice, and the tentpole moments throughout the year of what needs to be posted on socials, and then get the graphic designer to make it specific for every post? Michelle, it's not adding up.
Because listen, if we don't have our content planned out for October of next year today, then we're done. But Gino brings up a good point. Michelle, what's your counter to that?
Well, as a strategist, I will say those things are very helpful. At the same time, my best piece of advice is to just get started. One of the things that I found posting on LinkedIn is the more you post, the more ideas you have, and then you kind of get into this flow. And so then you start to realize like what's working, what's resonating with people, and you can kind of evolve it from there. So in my mind, it's twofold. Like, go set the strategy, have your content pillars, and that can help you create backlog of content so that you aren't always scrambling to be posting. And at the same time, just go and post some shit, see what happens. Like, honestly, Jack, I love your LinkedIn. I think it's hilarious. I feel like you treat it like OG Twitter, where you're just posting random updates like that you were sick or that you like got a coffee from Times Square. And that's amazing, because now I feel like I know you better than we actually know each other, and you're personable. And so that's the thing. Like, find the people at the company who stand out and like who don't mind kind of like just posting random stuff and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, to that, listen, I could talk about how personable I am all day long, but the reality, it's such a cheat code for when if you post like that in a way that it pretty much gives people ammunition to have something to talk to you about when you meet them in real life. I feel like these communities are so small, and especially in B2B, you're gonna run into these people that you interact with on LinkedIn at some point, at some conference. And now these people have such an easy way to approach you, to be like, oh my God, like, even if it's something like dumb and stupid, like maybe it's not good content, but on LinkedIn, the bar is so low.
The bar is so low.
That
It's so
you-
easy to stand out.
Yeah, and then it just leads to more like
yesterday,
yeah.
which, you know, it's not a dumb and stupid topic. It's very serious. Somebody brought up, you know, Ross's dating life. And I was a big fan, and it was a very serious moment where we had to explain what happened with Ross's dating life, but because we posted on LinkedIn what's going on.
Yeah, of course. It's our duty to update.
It's a very important update. And you guys, I actually have some dating advice for Ross.
He's listening. He is listening, and he
Oh,
also can get on the mic.
Let me know, Michelle.
Y'all, this developed overnight. So I was scrolling TikTok to figure out like what to put in the pollen section of the Pollinatr, which are just like fun little links of things. And this guy on TikTok shared some dating advice. So like I've been married for over a decade, so I haven't dated in a while, but you know, when it's from TikTok, it's real. So he was saying that you should really be looking for the banana bread baddies, meaning not like the baddies who are like pieces of cake who you find at like the clubs and the bars. The banana bread baddies you find at places like Whole Foods and thrift stores, and they're way better than the cake baddies. So that's all I'll say.
Wait, Ellie was snapping back there. Ellie is on the mic. Ellie, thoughts
I
on
would
that?
just like to say I am in my banana bread era. I've been
Okay,
one, I
yeah,
think,
you
every
are.
week for the last 4 weeks.
Okay, so Ellie is the prime example, and if Ellie is not on the market, not off the market, she's gonna be off the market soon.
She is beaming right now. You can't see her, but Ellie is excited, and someone
This
can
is
be.
everything to me.
The banana bread?
So banana bread. It's like you don't want to meet the love of your life at like the club, you know. Ross, what's your reaction to all that advice from Michelle?
I think I'll be shopping at Whole Foods a bit more now.
There we go, Ross.
Feels like it might be a good spot to meet somebody.
Is that like the sitting duck method?
Sitting duck, yeah, where
Yeah.
you go to it's like you attract the people, like it's fill your garden, fill up your cup, and then the overflow will feed the garden.
It'll runneth over.
It's something like that.
That sounds right.
It's so.
Oh my God.
Okay, so but to that point, to round it out,
How are
like
you going to connect this up? How are you going to connect all this?
I-
There's
my-
a connection. There's a connect. Back to LinkedIn.
my big thing with that is like, obviously everyone who's on LinkedIn has these like, if you're in B2B, you have ulterior motives, you want to drive more sales, more conversions, whatever. And when you go and you have a little bit of something online that people can talk about with you in real life, it makes these conversations of meeting someone so much easier. Because to Michelle's point, there's so many LinkedIn lurkers. You don't realize the people that are watching and seeing your content.
So true.
It could be like your prime #1 lead target, and you just don't realize it. It's one of those 413 impressions. So people get so turned away because they're like, oh, I only got 65 impressions. Well, like in the B2B game on LinkedIn,
And those are good numbers.
that could be all the difference. So I feel like that's how I rounded out. Michelle, how do you think I did?
I love it. That's great. Follow Jack and Gino on LinkedIn because they're killing it. There's so many great people on LinkedIn, and honestly, like I've become friends with a lot of them. And actually, I'm hosting a panel with a bunch of people I met on LinkedIn. at,
Plug it. Who is
South
it?
by.
Who's on the panel at South by?
So Chris Stanton and Kirsten Ludwig both write a newsletter called Good Thinking on Substack. It's amazing. Highly recommend. And then also Kim Chappelle, who's the chief brand officer at Bobby, which is a baby formula company who I'm just like obsessed with. They've done so many cool marketing things and like really an action like purpose driven brand. They walk the walk. And we're going to have a great conversation. It's all about building influence in the age of trust. So we're talking about Substack, LinkedIn, how the landscape is shifting with influencers, and like who really holds the keys to trust now, and how do you develop that? So it'll be so fun. I'm excited.
Check it out. Get there at South by Southwest. And then before we let you go, Michelle, what is some advice for us? It's our first time going to South by Southwest. Maybe someone listening right now, it's their first time, or they haven't been in a while. They want to know what's what. What's your advice for us heading to South by Southwest this weekend?
Okay, well, you're gonna have the best time ever, so get excited. Definitely eat some breakfast tacos. Taco Deli is my favorite, steak and eggs. Also, best barbecue spot, low key, is Ironworks, not Franklin's. It never has a line, but it's like all the presidents have been there. It's amazing. And then obviously comfortable walking shoes, bring some water. It's going to be hot. But at the end of the day, what I love about South by is that you don't even have to have a badge to have a good time and like something that actually is like good for business. And so there's a ton of off-campus panels and events I highly recommend going to. For example, Brand Innovators, they have their yearly thing at Lambert's, which is awesome. Lots of CMOs there talking. Also, the Female Quotient Lounge is going to be really cool. And then, of course, the Breaking and Entering Happy Hour. Can't miss that. I'll be there. But yeah, it's going to be great. Like, there's so many things going on in that area. So essentially, like, just be prepared to be downtown for like sunrise to sunset and till sunrise again.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Michelle, thank you so much for joining. Everyone go check out Michelle's Substack, The Pollinatr. Really great read. It gets you caught up on everything, all the cool stuff that's happening in social media. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, guys. It's so good to see y'all.
Yes, we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
Boom.
Bye.
That was Michelle Blaser, writer of The Pollinatr, social media connoisseur.
Mm-hmm. She did a great job, Jack. And the banana bread thing,
Banana bread baddie.
Baddie?
Banana bread baddie. Triple B.
Got it.
Banana bread baddie. Banana.
So you gotta like find the banana bread baddie and like places that are not the club.
Yeah, it's like
she's making banana bread. She's buying banana bread ingredients at Whole Foods. Is that what she was saying?
Yeah, it's like I would say it's more like the idea that someone who's going clubbing and like maybe living that kind of life is not making banana bread.
No.
The people that are making banana bread are the ones that are maybe considered more wholesome. And maybe more desirable.
They're probably saying like you don't want to date a podcaster. So I get it.
The world doesn't need another podcast, bro. There's a great meme of the map of Brooklyn. Maybe if possible we can get it pulled up, but no pressure, Ross.
What's the meme of?
The meme is it's Brooklyn, and the top side is like podcaster, and the bottom half is DJ. Like you just, if you live in these two, yeah, here we go.
Yep.
We got it pulled up.
Yeah.
Is it? Can people see it right now, Ross? Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So Brooklyn by the Hobby, your friend who lives there picked up, and now you have to listen to it.
Oh God.
So DJ up in like the Williamsburg and Bushwick area, and the podcast is like Park Slope.
That's wonderful. I'm gonna move into the red area, and Ross lives in the blue area, or the DJ area.
Which makes sense. Ross?
My roommate's a DJ.
Yes,
of course. Makes sense.
That's why you live in Bushwick.
All right.
That is great. Gino, what a show. What'd you think of it?
Good show. We kick things off with an ad agency, classic ad agency, just the fundamentals there of doing things right. We got into the social world, getting into, Brett touching upon the IRL events, I think is a good note for people, because that's where it's like live streaming in real life events. I think that's where
it's a big trend right now.
People are probably going to one day just like snap these in half.
And Brett, he gets such a great crowd. I've been to an event of his, and it's packed, and it's also just the only people there are creators and then like creator economy professionals.
He's got the niche. He's got the niche.
He's been doing it since 2021, I think.
Early.
2020, so he's been early. That's
he's the first person to throw events.
The original events, the Magna Carta. That's the OG creator. The OG creator event was the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
The OG thought leader.
The best rebrand. Brian Collins said on a podcast, the best rebrand
was,
the United States of America.
Going from the 13 colonies to the United States of America.
Yeah.
Great rebrand. And he runs one of the great design agencies.
That's right.
Collins. So that was just a great episode. A lot of really interesting cultural insights to social media. I think any chance you get to talk to Casey Lewis is like can't miss television.
For sure.
She just is so dialed in, and you talk about niches. Understanding how Gen Alpha and Gen Z interacts with social media, interacts with daily life, interacts with culture is so valuable. That's why 86,000 people read her Substack, and a lot of marketers and brands are like chasing her insight and what she knows, which is extremely valuable. But super cool to talk with her. And then Michelle Blaser, of course. Where else are you going to talk creator? Where else are you going to talk B2B marketing? And then Ross's dating life, all in the span of about 3 minutes.
Appreciate her coming on doing that. The Banana bread baddie.
Banana bread baddie. Triple B. Anything else before we go? We're live again tomorrow, Thursday, to wrap up the week. Thursday, tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Another stacked guest list, no spoilers, but I think people are going to be excited about it. 11 a.m. Eastern time on LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. Breaking and Entering Show, live on LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. Breaking and Entering Show, live on LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. Breaking and Entering Show, live on LinkedIn, X, and YouTube.
Ellie's freaking out back there.
No, your connection is not off.
Yeah.
Anything else before we head off?
No, excited to hang out with you guys tomorrow. We got some great guests as well.
Have a great Wednesday. See you, everyone.